Breaking Barriers.
Want to welcome you to another episode of Breaking Barriers podcast. I'm excited for this interview today. This is somebody that I've heard about since I've been young, gotten to know just in the last few years. And sitting here with Craig Schlabaugh, and Craig, in your shop. And I know you're pretty humble about what all you've done and accomplished in life so far, but I can tell you, as a little kid growing up, all I ever heard, you were the smartest mechanic in the country. And you could weld, rebuild, fix anything there was, and you've done work on a lot of different things, had a storied career in mechanics. So tell me a little bit about where you grew up and how you started down that path.
Well, I was born and raised around this area, and as a kid I grew up on this farm. And after I got out of high school, I went to work for the local John Deere dealer. And then they closed up. And then I went to work for the International dealer, and I worked there until I went in the Army in '61.
Okay. So Wellman, Iowa had a John Deere dealer as well.
Had a John Deere dealer and International dealer.
Where was that, the John Deere dealer at?
Well, it'd be on the corner where that city maintenance building is now.
Okay.
Home Gas had that lot. Yeah, it was in that building.
Okay.
And it was Don Kern, I believe was the guy's name.
Pretty interesting.
And then Small and Oldfield had it, and that's who I was working for in high school and after I got out of high school. Yeah.
And then from there, you went to the Army, you came back.
I came back and I went to work for the International dealer. And that's where I got tangled up in tractor pulling and all this kind of stuff.
So when did that start? Did it start at that dealership, or did it kind of start because
I messed around with drag racing.
Okay.
Ever since I was big enough to know what a car was. And then I got tangled up with Fornash and Bowser and Stewart and those guys, and kind of like that. When they started putting those V8 engines in them tractors, that caught my eye. I was liking that.
So did you help those guys some?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, see, Stewart had an 806.
Yes.
And after I left down there, I had changed turbos on it, and then I put a V8 International diesel engine in an 806 for him.
Really? Truck motor?
No, it was a scraper motor.
Okay.
And he was going to pull it. And it didn't take long for that to get outlawed.
Right. And
then he used it in the field a lot. It worked out pretty good.
Okay.
But before that, I guess, I took an old Massey 44 and I put a Pontiac V8 in it. Just junk, And I did fairly well with it.
Okay.
At 6, it was no good, but at 9, it was.
And you pulled it yourself?
I pulled it myself. And then they outlawed the 9 for, And I run it about a year or two. And then I kept going over to Illinois. And I wasn't getting along very good over there. And
just to pull?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I figured out that F-30 was the way to do this.
Oh, okay.
And I got one of them out of the junk. And I put an old, I think, a Mercury motor in it or something. And I tried it a time or two, like up at Oxford, to brush pull. And then I needed a better motor. And about the next year, a guy called me up. I'd been known forever. And he'd bought a 63.5 Ford that was one of those drag racing cars. Had a Holman and Moody engine in it.
Oh, wow.
And it only had 6,000 miles on it. He wanted to put it back to stock. And he wondered if I'd do that. And I said, yeah.
Your wheels were turning already when you heard Holman and Moody.
I'm eyeballing that motor. And so then I took that motor out of that car and put it in that tractor. And I run it for a year or two till didn't have the money to keep going. And
but that motor made a difference, probably.
ooh.
Yeah, it ran.
It ran.
Yeah. You don't have that motor yet, do you?
Got stolen out of this shed right here.
Oh, you're kidding me.
I was when I quit, Dorsher come up to Kelowna and he broke the rear end in the F30. So I said, well, I still got that tractor up there in the shed. So I give him the rear end, and we put the motor in the shop. And then I moved out here, and it was in this shed. And I think I was in Minnesota working on a pipeline, and that got stolen out of here. My wife worked in Cedar Rapids, so
people had
plenty of time, and and this old building was just a wooden building and
just a shell at the
easy
time.
to get into.
Right.
Yeah,
that's too bad.
Yeah.
So from those days, you were helping them, and you kind of when you quit pulling your own, then what happened? What was the next step?
Well, I didn't do too much with the pulling until about 74. That's when Kai come along.
Okay.
And
that's Lanny Kai.
Lanny Kai, Dennis's brother.
Right.
And he had an F30. They'd turned it upside down and had 2 Chevys in it. And it wasn't enough anymore.
Right.
And so he got a hold of I think it was a 740 John Deere log skidder rear end.
Yep.
Heavy. And come hauling it in one day and said, how about building a tractor? I said, yeah, I guess I could. So we took that log skidder rear end, and he had bought out some drag racer, I think, in Illinois. He had a couple blown Chevys engines, and we built that tractor, put the 2 blown Chevys in it, and tried to make it as light as we could, which is hard to do.
Right. And to get it to hold.
And I started working on it on Christmas Day, and 6 weeks later, I think, we went to the Super Pool.
Oh, really?
And I don't know if you've ever watched Dave Banner, but Dave said Super Pool's no place to go with the first time out.
Yeah.
He's right. And
I was told go as far from home as you can where nobody knows you.
Well, that might be, or maybe we weren't far enough away. But anyway, when we were building it, we got in this argument about this front axle. And I think Dennis had this axle it was like for a gasser or something like that. Well, Lanny wanted to use the axle, and I didn't want to, but his tractor, so we used the axle. Went to Indianapolis and pulled the 12, and had a full rack of weights on it. Never pulled before. Brought that front end up about 4 foot and banged her down, and the wheels went boop.
And that was the end of that axle.
The end of that axle. But we brought her home and cut it out and did it again. And then I think we went to Louisville, and I think he got first or second at Louisville with it then. But he was pretty successful.
How did the Kai brothers get a hold of you back then? Because you weren't necessarily, just because of you pulling in with that F30 rear end?
Yeah, I met him when I had the Massey.
Oh, okay.
I knew him,
because Dennis had ties to the drag racing world from California, from the Marines, and when he was in the Marines out there. But those guys didn't mess around when it came to horsepower.
No.
They usually got after it. And they had a lot of success too, didn't they?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Dorsher, I never will forget, he knew that. Is it Keith Pink, the Hemi builder in California? I think so. Dennis got tangled up with him when he was out there. Because Dorsher called him from my shop one time and said, I got to have more power. And he told him, he said, you got as much power as any of those fuel cars. And he said, oh, it ain't enough for me. I need more. But no.
So you started out really with modifieds in the beginning.
Yeah.
At what point in that, once you got that tractor built, did you help them much after that? They kind of had their own thing going?
After I built the one with 2 engines?
Yeah, with Lanny.
Oh, not too much. I helped Lanny, and then Dennis had that one that was after he was out of the Marine Corps, and no, I didn't help them much. But.
And then then from there, what was the next tractor you got involved in?
Well, I had Lanny's when I built Klug's too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was still helping him some. But
so when did you start with Klug? I thought you were...
I think it must have been about 76 or 77.
Before you did Lanny Kai's.
No, I'd done Lanny's first.
And then you ended up getting connected.
Because we had Lanny's down at Houston.
Okay.
And Klug was down there, and that was before he had Lagad's stuff on it.
Okay.
And
so that would have had to be 74 or 75.
No, it was about 76, I think.
Was it? Okay.
And he said, we got to figure something out, Craig, do better. I hadn't helped him much then. I had loaned him some injectors I had and stuff.
Right.
When he had the 856. And I knew him well,
right.
You know. And I said, John, you better go to Chicago. I said, that guy's got a dyno and he knows what he's doing. So then that next spring we built the one.
Okay.
This last one he had.
Was that 1066, did he buy that new or was that a farm tractor?
That was an 856 gas.
The whole time? And he just kept rebuilding it?
No. He pulled a 1066.
Yeah.
That's the one he was always switching the motor in.
Right.
And then when he went to Chicago, he come home and he had an 856 gas. And when he called me and wanted me to come down there, we're gonna build this tractor.
So, but the Red Baron that he pulled then full time there for a while started as an 856.
Yeah, the first one was a 1066.
The first one.
And then when we got it really going, he took that 856 gas, they were cultivating in the morning with it, pulled her in the shed and we ripped it apart. And we put a 1066 housing on the rear end to get the width. And we made a 1066 out of it. And
what was
he had a Lagad's torque. He still had a torque in it then. But then we took the engine down. Now, I'm not sure which engine that was. I think the good engine was still in the farm tractor. I think he was using it to farm with. But we put Lagad's sleeves and pistons and
everything,
a head on it and two turbos in.
And that was the beginning of the Hypermax on Klug's tractor.
That was the first Hypermax setup.
Okay. And the two turbos, so you probably, I'm just going to guess, you were running a crawler or manifolds, maybe?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Would have been the farm tractor manifolds.
Yeah, we had the crawler manifold, and the water injection was a Hyper spray pump.
Yeah.
And he run that, must have been a year or so. And then he brought it up here, and I put the 3 turbos on it.
Up here?
Yep. But when we did that, we changed the sleeves to get that other newer head gasket.
Okay.
And there had been various other problems. The timing gear flew off the front of the motor, and we had to put bigger bolts, tap it out, and put a girdle on the motor. And
okay. I was going to say, at that point with the 2 turbos, do you know what boost they were running?
Not with 2, I do with 4. No, I'd say 100.
Yeah. Which was big for that day.
Big for that day.
What was the big switch in Jerry Lagad's parts? Just the head was ported out and could flow a lot better? Was that a big deal?
No, it wasn't too big a deal.
It wasn't.
No, but the reliability.
He had good valve train parts and things
he had
built.
Good stuff in there, and it was reliable. You know, it wasn't broke every day.
Right.
I think that second year we took the torque out. And, of course, we broke the bottom shaft. And then Jerry had built a bearing setup for that. And that all worked really good. But, and I think when we first started out, we started out with single disc clutch.
Oh, really?
Uh-huh. And then we Jerry had the double disc.
Okay, and that's what he ran the whole time.
Yeah,
then,
he was running.
So it was like a pedal clutch, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you guys built that, I guess, what'd you put in that 856 to get it wider? The 1066 rear end?
I took the 856 rear end and I pulled the TA housing off.
Right.
And I got a TA housing off a 1066, which bearing had went out on the bottom shaft and it ruined the housing. Nick Teens threw them away, and put a new housing on. I took it up Sadler's and had them line bore it and put a bushing in it, and
used it again.
I fixed a lot of them that way. But yeah, and we put that on and we got the width, of the frame rails.
Oh, I got you.
And then we put the 856 steering sector in there.
So your rear end was the 856. You converted the center housing
to a 10.
Then you put the front of the 1066 onto it?
No, we put the front of the 856 and I built shims and put in there to shim it out.
So the motor
and
fit.
Then we put a 1066 grill on it and 1066 10. And
when you say plastic grill, you got the whole, instead of the casting,
didn't use that casting.
You got somebody to build
build a fiberglass mold. Yeah,
okay. Who did that for you?
I don't remember.
Okay. Because they're still using variations of, a lot of them are aluminum, others are still tin.
But then he went to the 3 turbos and a bigger water pump, and that setup was reliable.
Yeah.
I never thought they should have went to 4, but
I think some of them are going back to 3.
I think so.
And they're getting better boosts. They're just getting them staged better. I think at that point in time, though, you felt like the more turbos, the more you're going to get, but it wasn't really accurate. You guys got involved, though, with Hypermax pretty early on.
Yep.
And so, what, about year 2?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think year 2.
So as a kid watching tractor pulling, when Klug showed up, we were pretty confident he was going to win. And he had a good tractor. And I know he was, of course, we seen him at local regional stuff, so it wasn't like he was up against some of the other hyper guys. But he was competitive.
Oh, yeah.
And you were a part of that in the early days. What was it the hyper setup? Were there other things you guys did with drawbar, or what were you guys doing there?
Not too much, it was
still a factory drawbar?
No,
you had something made.
No, we'd made that, and he had the rock shaft off of it and that aluminum plate on there, and he was pretty hard to beat there,
right? For a number of years.
When put that Sigma pump on there, that
was the game changer?
That was the game changer, yeah.
Okay.
Then, of course, I wanted to get in the pump and work on it, and the God didn't want that at all.
Oh, really?
But, yeah, you could dial your poison with that baby.
Yeah. No, that thing was the game changer for a lot of people. I think, though, Lagarde tried to keep pretty close rein on his parts.
Oh, he knew who was going to win.
Yeah, and so he could kind of adjust it even amongst probably his own guys. And I don't know, maybe I'm stretching a little, but
no,
he had his favorites.
Yeah, he sure did.
Did you feel like Klug was one of his pets in that whole deal for a while? No, Klug never was?
Oh, he got along with Klug, but he wasn't his favorite.
Okay. Who were those guys?
Oh, Danny Dean.
Danny Dean
Pretty much, yeah.
Danny told me, though, that he did a lot of the work himself, but he could pretty much call Lagarde and get whatever he needed.
Yeah.
But he did a lot of the work himself because he couldn't afford to get it installed. But he would go up and stay at their house, I know, some. And,
did he?
Yeah. So he kind of became probably like family to him.
Well, it was quite a deal, that milking parlor, and it was in the suburbs of Barrington, you know, and it had been a milking parlor, and he had all the machines he needed in there, and back room there was a Corvette in there. He had raced.
Okay.
I don't know what kind of circuit he raced it in, but Watkins Glen, he told me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he used to race there. And then I think in later years, Max raced it too.
Oh, really?
I think so.
So, did you guys take that? Did you guys ever take the tractor over and get it dynoed or get work done on it,
No.
or you did all the work? You just bought parts and did the work.
We did all the work, yeah. We changed a head in there one night.
Okay.
But he'd been up in New York and broke a head, and I met him in there and we changed a head, but I don't think he ever took it in there for...
So you never got a dyno numbers? Don't know. You don't know what the horsepower would have been?
All of it.
All of it? Well, I'm just curious because a lot of guys, there was a lot of people were saying, oh, they had 1,500, they had 2,500. Who knows what they really had? I didn't know. I don't know if you knew what those. Well, they were 414s primarily, weren't they? Or were you guys up?
We were 436.
436. Okay.
We put a 414. John always wanted a 414, and we put one in once. And I'd heard that Danny run a 414. I don't know if he did or not.
He did.
Did he?
In his episode, you can go listen to it when it's out. And he said he was the only one that ran one, but he could get more RPM.
Well, that's what Klug wanted to do.
He wanted more RPM.
Yeah. And we put it in, and I don't know, he run it. And is there a piston behind you?
Yeah, right here.
See that piston?
Yeah.
That's out of a 414.
Okay. And that was one that you guys ran.
That was a brand new motor, fresh engine.
If you want to see what happens when they get a little too hot, right there you go.
And when it left here, it was in the winter. They were going to Super Bowl.
I've seen rings like this just recently.
And John was sick.
Okay.
And I think Mike Gum run it. And I put alcohol, the same alcohol we was burning in Lanny's, in the water tank so it wouldn't freeze, and give them strict instructions. Drain this alcohol when you get to Indianapolis and put water in there. And whoever did it looked in there and said, well, there's already water in here. It's clear.
Oh, geez.
They had that alcohol in there, and Lagod told me, he was there. He said it really went good for 75, 80 feet.
And then she just burned her down.
Burned her down. So then when he brought her home, I put a 436 crank back in it.
Yeah. Got the extra stroke out of it.
Yeah.
Did you, how many years did you work on Klug's tractor?
Oh, probably off and on, steady for 2, and then occasionally up till time he quit.
Okay.
I don't know who was working on it. I never had anything to do with that when he changed the tin on it.
Okay.
And
I wonder if Billy Giberson was part of that.
I don't think Billy, I think he was working for Berger Engler then.
Okay.
But I went down there and put a head on it.
Oh, okay.
And that was the last thing I did to it.
Okay.
But it was 4 Chargers then.
At that point. Did you guys build all the ductwork and figure that out here, or was it all bolt-on stuff?
Most of it was from Lagod.
Was it?
Yeah.
The
stuff all worked good.
Did you go to a lot of the tractor pulls with him?
No.
Oh, you didn't?
I didn't go to a lot. I couldn't. I had to try and make a living. And
okay.
I went to some.
Did he win any national championships during that phase?
Yeah, we went to the Indianapolis to the banquet with him, and he had won 9 and 12 both that year.
Okay, in 76, 77?
Oh, probably 77 or 8.
Okay.
And then we were down at Nashville, and he had won, I think, the 9. I think he'd won maybe 4 or 5 national championships.
I think if the record stands that I've seen, with all over the years till he quit, I thought he won 10.
He could have.
And then Danny Dean, I think, said he won 9, and I'm trying to remember who told me they won 11. Gosh, who's the guy out of Illinois? That was a big hyper guy. Is there? Oh, I can't say his name. But there was a lot of those Lagod tractors pretty much dominated for quite a few years.
Yeah, they did, and there was just a couple had just a little bit more than the rest did.
But there was, as rumor has it, sometimes Klug's tractor outperformed the Hyper tractors, the Lagad's tractors. Did that happen when you were working on it?
Yeah, some of those turbo housings got mixed up, and there was things like that. But
that you guys changed around.
Yeah, we changed around and
tried to get ahead of it.
I think they changed quite a few of them then.
Right. What'd you do when you got finished working on Klug's tractor? Did you stay in the tractor pulling thing and work on some others, or was that kind of the end of it?
Oh, I worked on a few, but no, construction equipment.
That was primarily what you did? And then you ended up working on what, locomotives? And
No, I never worked on a locomotive, but I worked on a ton of bulldozers.
Okay.
Yeah, worked on them forever.
And in the whole time frame that you were with Klug, what were some other innovative things that you guys did?
Put tracks on the combine.
Oh, really?
Yes. Yeah, he had a muddy fall in '77, I think, and he went to Canada and got a set of tracks he had a new 750 Massey combine, and we jacked her up and put those tracks on it. And then he goes to the field, and she ain't got enough power.
So you turboed it or cranked the fuel up?
He cranked the fuel up. I wasn't there when he did that. And he cranked the fuel up. In about 2 days, he called me and said, "Craig, can you come down? What's your trouble, John?" "Don't know. A lot of smoke coming out of the breather tube." Scored the pistons.
He over.
So we pulled the motor, and his combine's new.
Right.
So that dealer wants to look at it, and we have a terrible time, and they put sleeves and pistons in, and I go down and we put the motor back on and scored her again.
You didn't know it was turned up at that point?
I knew it was turned up.
Yeah.
So the next time we take the pump off and he sends it down to Collinville, and I think the pump was out of time a little bit inside.
Okay.
But anyway, we give her some clearance then on those sleeves. And it run then, but oh my, full ahead was not fast enough.
Right. So he was one of them guys, from what I hear, didn't matter if he was driving, pulling, whatever. It was wide open all the time.
I had a friend who was the night foreman at Hicklin's in Des Moines, GMC.
Yep.
He told me one time I dumped Klug off to pick up a tractor, and he said, "John Klug gets more power to the rear wheels than most people do off the crankcase, off the crankshaft."
So he ran everything hard.
He ran everything hard.
Yeah, I think you were telling me earlier too, even on a 75 Chevy he bought, you guys ended up putting a different motor in that thing.
He bought a new Chevy and put a 454 in it, and if you're going to put one in, you get one that's got a little more than what a pickup engine would have. It did.
It ran hard too.
It ran hard too.
What was he running the semi, hauling the tractor to the track with the semi at that point in time? Most of the time. Did he have that camper set up yet?
He had it one time. He had the Red Baron on there, and he had Lanny's on there. And he come through Wellman, and my wife and I were going to go with him. Connie was following him. He had a new Chevrolet van.
Okay.
And I don't know where we were going. I think to Fort Recovery.
Right.
And he and Lanny were in the semi, and I was driving the van, and my wife and Connie and Lanny's wife were with me, and the wind was blowing terrible. And that van, I had her to the floorboard, and I couldn't keep up with that semi. He lost me on the interstate.
Oh my goodness!
But no, he was wide open
all the time. I've heard a lot of stories. That's how he went, and even pulling. I mean, you could just tell.
He wasn't afraid to bend her over.
No, he cranked that throttle till you thought he was going to break the thing off. I mean, he was going to get after it. What were the safety features you guys had on that thing when you built that?
Didn't have any.
Nothing. No dead man throttle.
Yeah.
It had that.
It had a dead man throttle, and it had the emergency shut off out the back.
Okay, that was already in
that
there.
Was it.
Fenders? Were there fenders on it?
Yeah, he has had fenders,
His
but
did.
not all of them did.
It's good that he did.
Yes.
There were some fatalities in that era with that. And you never, the hitch, was that adjustable?
Yeah.
You already had that designed.
Yeah.
Was
See, that stuff was made on that tractor when he was switching it back and forth for farming. So some of that stuff we put over on this one when he made this last one.
So the whole time he pulled, he had, even when he switched over to the 88 sheet metal, he had that 856 rear end.
Yep.
Okay, so, and then he just changed sheet metal and...
the gears weren't all the same.
Right, but he re-gear it. What about the rear end? Any problems with keeping the rear end together? What'd you do there?
Ralph Banner made a carrier for us.
So you guys had a billet carrier back in the day?
Yeah, way before.
Okay. When you ran with John, what I hear is a lot of you Iowa guys ran together when you went to tractor pulls, and you just mentioned that with Lanny taking his on John's trailer, which to me, if you were going to Ohio, you were going east. Lanny's east of us here.
Yeah.
How did that all? They were coming from another
Had them
pull?
at my place working on it.
Oh, so they came up
They
here
were
and
both
loaded
at my
up.
place.
Okay. So you were working on both of them.
Uh-huh.
But you got to know a lot of the basically the famous tractor pullers across the country.
I knew quite a few. Yeah.
Who were some of how did John, and what are some stories there with those guys? They were an ornery bunch, I've heard.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. I knew more of the modified guys than I did. I knew a lot of the super stock guys, but no, they had a good time.
Yeah. What got you with the modifieds? Just because that's where you started?
Just because that's what I kind of caught my eye.
Okay. What did you guys do on gear ratio back then?
Well, we did several things. We had those gears out of a 4100 in there. They had some fast gears for second.
Four-wheel drive.
Yeah. And we put them in there.
On the transmission?
On the speed transmission. And then we broke them.
Yep.
So then we put two of them in there. And did that for a while. And then I think Lagod made a gear.
Yeah, I think too he did.
And we had that one in there. But I don't know if you'd ever heard of this. Those early 806s, if they came out with 15.538 tires, they had a different ring gear in them.
Okay.
And I don't think there was only about 3 of them ever made. But it was a little faster. And I was in the junk business too. And I found one of them in an 806 out here one day. So I guess you know where that went.
Yeah.
And that was in John's tractor when he got rid of it.
The ring and pinion.
It was just a hair, and they said you don't ever see them. But
right. And you couldn't order them probably too much because they were
it wasn't even in the parts book anymore. But
right.
But it didn't make much difference, but...
Breaking Barriers podcast is funded by Gary Bontrager Consulting. Gary Bontrager Consulting does a lot with systems and processes to facilitate growth in your company. We also work a lot with conflict mediation, perpetuation planning from one generation to the next or one business owner to the next. If you want more information on that, you can look us up on Facebook and also out on our website at www.garybontrager.com. We want to thank Bob Parks with Custom Tire Cutting and the Parks Pullers for supporting the Breaking Barriers podcast. Their product speaks for itself. It has helped us get many wins as well as many other pullers out there. Check them out and try their product. You will not be disappointed. Thanks again for your support at Breaking Barriers podcast. You guys ran a torque, you said in the beginning. How much horsepower were you running through that torque?
Oh, I don't know what it would have had 1200 or so.
And it would hold when it pulled.
Well, it held for a while.
Right.
But it wasn't a torque like you put in your farm tractor either. I had found this out in years before. I'd worked on a Huff end loader, and their reverser was made out of the same thing as a torque in a 1066 or an 806. And those clutches in there were metallic. real thin, and they could put twice as many of them in.
Really?
That was in that one, yeah.
Okay. Was that a Lagod setup, or you did it?
No, we did that one.
Did that yourself,
Yeah.
so you rebuilt it. And then you just cranked the pressure up on it, or?
No, we machined the housing out and put another disc in the other side.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And Lagod, one of them John had was a Lagod.
Okay.
It wasn't any better than ours.
Yeah. At what point did you get rid of the torque?
First year.
First year.
First year with two Chargers.
And then were you twisting the shaft on it yet by then?
Oh, yeah, but not so awful bad. But
when you did, then what'd you do to...
Put that bearing down in the bottom.
And that took care of that?
Pretty well, yeah. But I'm sure in later years
Yeah, we're running a solid shaft
Yeah.
now, and it's, that thing's a big, heavy
Yeah.
old... And, of course, you're not running anything with International transmission parts in
Yeah.
it. But that's interesting that you did. That you did Ralph, was it Ralph Banner that
Yeah.
built that carrier? That surprises me a little, because I've heard more people back in that era that were trying to, the 2+2s, maybe when they came out, I heard some people, they had some heavier.
They might have.
And I think some people use that, I've heard.
First, we took the cross and machined it down and put needle bearings in there.
Okay, so you're doing that already back then.
Before, and then we broke the carrier.
Okay.
So then that's when Ralph made that one.
Okay.
And we had to do a little work on it too to get it. It wasn't perfect, but
yeah.
And I don't think it ever broke.
So you guys actually had a good network with the competitors back in those days. Got along with them. What if you go back and look over the career with Klug? Let's look at his. What were some of your favorite moments?
Oh, I don't know. We went to when we built the tractor. Like I said, he was always in road gear. We got it together and running and got the tires on it, and they were new Firestone tires.
Okay.
He says, "There's a tractor pull at Monmouth tonight. I think we could make it. It's raining." I said, "What?" "Yeah," he said, he called somebody. They're going to have it. We loaded that on that semi, Redbeard and John and I, and we go to Monmouth. He goes over there.
And Redbeard was...
Redbeard Donald.
Yep, Donald.
Daughtery. And we get over there. He enters her in 9 and 12, and they had an open. So I said, I think I'll just pull the open too. Track's a mess. Shouldn't have been a tractor pull. Had those mud tires on there. Won all 3 classes.
And you weren't cutting tires.
The next day we did.
The next day.
Took it somewhere the next day, but one time, I guess I met him in Chicago, that we put a head on it. We get to a motel about 2 a.m. We get up at 4 a.m. We're going to Bowling Green. And wide open all the way. We get there, just about time to unload it and weigh it and hook on. Backs up, hooks on, winds, loads her on the truck, had my tonner on the back of the truck, and head down the road. We're coming
You were
home.
in and out in an hour's time?
In and out in an hour's time.
I've heard that with him a lot, that he would just roll in, but I remember George Hendrickson often saying, just so you know, John Klug's on his way. He called and he's on his way. And he'd roll in there. You could see him coming in and he'd roll in there. Of course, today they try to get you in there early, and if you don't, they'd give you grief about it. But
we were in the semi and we were going through Peoria, I believe it was. And here comes a cop, Blackjack. He calls him. The cop gives him a ticket. We're going about 85 in the semi.
Right.
Cop gives him a ticket, has to pay it. So we go to the truck stop and they get it all taken care of. We get back out in the semi and there's old Blackjack right there getting in his black cop car. He takes off, we take off. And he's running 80, and so are we, right behind him down the interstate.
And he didn't bother you.
Didn't bother a bit.
You paid rent that day.
Paid the rent. We were good to go. Yeah,
Gosh, because I think visiting with Don, he said you did a lot of the chassis work and stuff when you did that first 856 rear end, and he did a lot of the motor assembly.
He went to work for John.
Yeah.
After that, but yeah, he was working at Nickteens, and
right.
He came out after work, and we worked about all night, every night. But
so you guys worked together and getting that first one built.
Yeah.
Up until that point, he was taking a farm tractor and switching it back and forth yet.
He had an 856 he messed with, and I think the first one, he had her on the truck, and he upset it going down the road.
Oh, really?
So he just got another one. And went back to pulling the next day. And then he got a 1066, and that was the one he was switching that motor back and forth in.
And I don't know if you know the story behind that. I hear that something happened with the mechanics at Nickteens because they were switching the motor back and forth. Something happened, and that's what upset him and pissed him off, and he didn't want to go back there.
Well, I think he was just wanting it done too quick. And
they weren't jumping when he was hollering.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
So he hired Don away and took care of business.
Because his relationship with Nickteen was always decent,
Yeah.
As long as I knew him.
Okay. So he was just, maybe that was a little folklore on that side of it then, that how long he'd do that. You worked for him off and on for the next 2.5 years, but you were working more just still doing your own thing.
Yeah.
Don, or Redbeard
went to work for him,
and he was there all the time. So he did a lot of some of the service work on it, maintenance on it. Did you guys build the tin work too then, or you used factory tin work?
No, we used factory tin work.
Just had a different grill.
Just that different front end, yeah.
Were you guys extending the frames or doing anything with the front end yet at that point? Nothing.
Just had the weight bracket out as far as we could go,
and there was a limit on that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Put the batteries up front and had the fuel tank up in the front.
Right. In your opinion, what was the difference between the John Deeres and the Internationals in that day?
Oh, the motor was, crankshaft weighed half as much. And
on the International?
Yeah, you could just get more easy to make
horsepower. And so the competition between the two, I mean, there was a couple Deeres that got to be pretty competitive, but
side and strickers.
That was the tough one.
That was it. And there was an old boy had one at 12,000. Can't remember his name, a 6030 that was running pretty good at one time.
A little later, and it was probably after your days with Klug, though. I mean, Rops kind of got theirs running pretty decent, but theirs was better in the lower weight limit classes, I think.
Yeah, they got it.
They had it running.
They fought her a long time.
They did, and then I know that Dick and Scott Buss ended up with a Indy crossflow cylinder head. And I don't know but the red guys never messed with anything but stock heads.
We had the head at Indies.
You did take your head in.
It had been there, but...
Okay. And Lagod didn't know that, or?
No.
Okay. As rumor has it, there were times that Klug's tractor was stronger than Lagod's tractors, and I think he was wanting to know how that happened.
Oh, yeah. He was ornery. He was hard to deal with.
Was he?
He told me... I don't know, one of them in there that I couldn't run that pump on a pump stand. Well, I knew a guy that had a pump stand that run those old Macs that had a pump this long. And he told me, he said, if you do it when I'm getting ready to change the fluids in it, he said, I don't want to contaminate my stand.
Right.
They tear them all down, before they rework them. He said, I'll run it for you. So I'm going to run this Sigma pump. We're going to see what it's got. Well, then John told Lagod that, and he called me and said, you send it in and I'll see if I can't do something to it.
So he didn't want you in that pump.
I take her to Airborne Freight in Cedar Rapids and put her on the airplane.
Shipped it out there.
Shipped her out there, and 2 days later it come back. And
You had mentioned Klug was pretty generous and would help about anybody out all the time. I got a story from somebody that Fred Nichols showed up here one day to get a pump, and was that one of Klug's pumps?
Klug had a whole bucket full of pumps.
Oh, he did?
Yeah. And I'm not too sure Lester Hansen didn't have one of Klug's pumps on.
Okay.
Klug was running a Bosch pump when we first built it.
Right.
And I think Lester got that pump.
Okay.
But Nichols, he got one too.
Right. Do you remember the day he showed up?
Yeah, I remember the day he come after.
Did you know he was coming?
No, John called up.
Okay.
See, I had to shop in town then. And I don't remember, something was at my shop that he had to have, but the pump was at John's. So he went to John's, if I remember how this story goes. He picked up the pump and he come to my place and he pulled in the door. I give him the piece. I was expecting him to come, and he said, "I can't get out of the car." I said, "What's wrong?" He said, "Well, I took a week or two off from tractor pulling and I was bull riding and I got all beat up."
That's what I heard. It beat him up so bad he couldn't walk.
Yeah.
But he got in the car and drove all the way across to Iowa. And,
I didn't know the man, you know.
Yeah.
But
he was an ornery one. From what I understood, he lived life to the fullest. He wasn't afraid to bull ride and tractor pull and try about anything. But I knew when he showed up, he couldn't get out of the car and was worked over pretty hard. What were some other, with Lester Hansen, did you ever do any work for him?
No, I didn't. But the night that he got killed in Cedar Rapids, I'd been talking to him 3 minutes before that because he'd been at Klug's.
Okay.
And I think they were timing the pump because I know Klug called me a half a dozen times, and I don't know if you've ever messed with one of those Bosches, but you had to pull the delivery valve and fuel cut off.
Right.
And he didn't understand that. And he had me explaining it to him again up in Cedar Rapids that night.
Okay.
John wasn't up there.
Oh, really? Okay. And that wasn't not an NTPA pull then?
No.
Okay, that was a local ITPA?
I think so.
At that point in time. So, well, that was a pretty bad deal when that happened, and I think the fenders came in after that, didn't they?
He didn't have any fenders. He didn't have any seat that amounted to anything either.
And a dead man throttle was probably mandatory after that too.
Then I was at Devonport when that flywheel flew out of that one.
Which one was that?
Oh, Horse Cow, was it?
Really?
Yeah.
Ron lost one in what tractor?
806. He couldn't get her started, and I think he hooked on at the end of the class, and I heard him slipping it, and then kerboom. And those kids at Kai's came over with a piece of flywheel shaped like that, still warm, you know, and it went clear across the racetrack on the opposite side of that half-mile track.
Oh, you're kidding me.
Then I was in Fort...
Lucky it didn't go into the stands.
I was in Fort Recovery when one broke, and it put some people in the hospital there.
Really?
Yeah, they called the tractor pull off that night.
What happened there? Was that another
Slipping
tractor?
the clutch. Just slipping the clutch. No safety stuff on the tractor at all. The guy had shorts and no shirt on. And she broke the tractor in two and she fell in a pile right there at the line.
Oh my gosh.
I think it was a 1206 if I remember correctly.
You don't remember who it was?
No, I didn't. I didn't recognize it, you know.
Did he get hurt?
No, he didn't. No, he didn't.
Wow. We've come a long way from from shorts and tennis shoes and no shirt.
Klug always had fenders on his. And
yeah. Interesting. That 1206 probably didn't?
No.
It wouldn't.
No, I don't believe it did.
Okay. Well, if anybody out there knows of that tractor, I'd drop a note in the comments. I'd love to know a little more about that one. Did you see any other big parts failures over the years?
Oh, I've seen some of those engines come apart on those modifieds, you know, but that's...
Nobody got hurt?
No.
Were you down at Louisville anytime with any of those pulls?
Yeah.
Who were you down there with?
I was down there with Kai a couple times. And of course, Klug was there too. But
at the time Kai was pulling that modified, Jerry Fornash and Ron Headley and those guys were probably going down there some too.
Yeah.
So I know Ron pulled a lot down in Louisville, I believe, over the years.
Kai did pretty good. That log skidder rear end was geared a little too low.
Okay.
And we had to run an overdrive in the transmission. And that was the breaking point, you know.
And it would break on that point. You guys didn't have a different method to re-gear it and get the...
We didn't then, but...
Now you would.
Ralph Banner and I at the Super Pole one year had talked about a truck rear end, you know, and putting planetaries on it. And then in a few years or so, he did it then.
Oh, he did then.
Yeah.
So when you guys did that with Lanny's tractor, at that point, though, nobody was really using like skidder rear ends.
That's about the first one
out that you knew of. I'm just curious if anybody knows when some of those others came in, because today, even all the super stock, pro stock tractors, all the modifieds, they've got to run a rear end.
Run that rear end
If they don't, they can't hold the horsepower.
Yeah.
So, I mean, heavens, even the little light limiteds anymore, we're not able to keep the ag chassis. They're still splitting tractors.
You know, when Arfons first came out with that turbine, he had a 3/4 ton Ford rear end, pickup rear end in there. And the planetaries were off of I don't know what they were, but, you know, the rear end could take the RPMs, but there was no torque there. It's all out on the planetaries. And
that made all the difference.
Yeah, it made all the difference, yeah.
We had talked a little about cutting tires. Did you guys always cut your own, or how?
No, he took them over to Illinois. He had some guy in Illinois did it.
And you don't know who that was.
But then Ron Headley had come up here and sharpened them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Ron was pretty handy at it.
Okay. I know Jerry Fornash, I believe, cut his own a lot too.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it.
And did you guys, you weren't around on the double cut side yet?
No.
Okay.
No, but I was around when they were taking the tube tires and putting them on tubeless.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Were the sidewalls wrinkling on those things back in those days?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So you were starting to do bead locks and...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could put screws in about that long and tear them right out of the tire.
Really? Just didn't have enough in there.
Well, they were tube tires, you know.
Right. Not enough. Not enough of a bead to hold it.
Yeah.
What were you, and you never got into the double cut side of tires then? Okay. If you could do anything over in tractor pulling, what would that be?
Oh, I don't know. Stay home.
Stay home?
Yeah.
A lot of good memories with it though.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
The people you met?
Oh, the people you met, yeah. I knew tons of people, you know.
Right. And there's still a ton of people that know you. It doesn't matter if I'm out wherever I'm at. They know who you are and what you did in the sport. What do you think of where it's at today and where it's going?
The distance your tractor goes is in direct proportion to the thickness of your wallet.
You don't think it was that way back then?
No, not quite.
Not quite.
No.
Yeah. Yeah, you're probably not too far off on that. I would like to think there are certain engine builders and there are some setup things that make a difference on things. But
today you can buy anything you need.
You can, for sure. And you get to the pro stocks, there's no doubt about that. I think some of the lower levels, there's still some ingenuity that's going. When it comes to the super stocks, the pro stocks, the modifieds on the NTPA circuit, there's no doubt that's where it's at.
The safety part of it is the thing that's hard to keep under control.
Right. And I don't know much more what else we're going to do about it, because now you've got not only the side shields, you got to have your shields yet inside that to contain the motor. We've got Kevlar blankets, turbos. They're doing all kinds of things there because those things started leaving the housings and flying all over the place. So
On that one up there, we lifted the blower up off the engine a couple times.
That M Farmo?
No, the
the Lanny's tractor there?
It'd pre-ignite and break the manifold and lift
Blow the blower right off of it?
That's when they started putting straps on them and cables around them. And
right. Interesting. That is very interesting. So what era was that at? Mid-70s?
Yeah.
And that's when the cables started coming in? Okay. Because we're still running those, running cables on those things. In your opinion, what do you think of the floating finish?
It's okay.
Yeah.
Especially nowadays where you guys ain't got no water in them. You can't just be going back 3 times.
No, I hear a lot of people whine about that, and that we have a floating finish, but when you're on our side of it, I don't know what you do about it.
No,
you can't hardly come back around. And pulling in multiple classes, and again, it's just a product of horsepower. I mean, everybody wants more power, so then you start cutting water and everything else. But I think from a mechanic's point of view, I'm surprised because a lot of the older guys in tractor pulling feel like we lost some of the authenticity out of it.
Oh yeah.
With that, but I don't know how you get around it, and if there's a cure that you can think of with that.
No, they tried everything back then, and it was all trial and error.
Right. You don't have any idea what the horsepower numbers were out of those things, though.
Oh, 1,800.
Probably is about where they were at. Yeah. And the red ones were ahead of the rest pretty well?
Oh, not ahead of David Stengel.
Okay. The old Cajun Queen?
No, Minneapolis Moline, solid junk.
Oh, solid junk, yes. I've heard a lot of stories about that thing. Were you around when the alcohol started coming in?
Yeah.
What'd you think of those?
Oh, I like that. We were down in Texas at Fort Worth, I believe. And I don't remember who it was, had a 1466. And they were running maybe 100 pounds boost,
Right.
And he made her alcohol and put little spark plugs down the injector holes and got 150 pounds boost that night and lifted the manifold and everything off
right
of
off the top of the motor.
That was the first I remember alcohol. This stuff's got some potential.
Yeah. I interviewed a guy by the name of Leonard Beasley out of Tennessee, and he had a pulling sled down there, and I'm trying to think, now I can't say, what's the NTPA pull that's down there, Chapel Hill.
Yeah.
He was there before Chapel Hill was an NTPA pull, and he had a mini mow that ran on alcohol, and he said they separated the block, and he was young, and he couldn't afford to keep building the tractor, but he said that when that thing lit, now it wouldn't always light, but when it lit, he said that son of a gun would run and nobody could touch him. But then he built a pulling sled and got it approved by NTPA, and they ran that thing for about 2 years or so till NTPA decided to do their own sled deal. And I don't know how much of that you know, because
no, I don't.
You were John was part of the NTPA in the beginning.
Yeah, at the beginning.
Yeah. And so I didn't know if you got involved with any of that or heard any of the stories off of that.
Have you ever heard of they were stepping on the sleds?
Right.
Well, when I went over to Illinois, first went over there, they had a mechanical skid.
Okay.
It was hydraulic.
Gotcha.
They called it the screwing machine.
Really? I'd not heard of that one.
And it was a dandy. And you wanted to be the first guy to pull before the oil got hot in it. But Dorsher and I were over there in Kai, and I think I had that F30 and I had Goodyear tires on it then.
Jeez, so you were talking
18.4, and they were Goodyears, and everybody's running Firestones. I didn't have money for Firestones. And I remember I pulled, and I started on one side of the track. I didn't like that, so I went like this, and I kind of turned around. And here comes Dorsher after me, right straight down the track, and I know he beat me. That machine registered, I beat him. I went further.
Oh, because it would register off of the distance
and then
of the
I
sled.
pulled another one over there that had a cable, and they pegged the cable in the ground. You took off, and that cable pulled the box up.
I've heard of that. I didn't, but I've never ran into anybody that actually pulled one that way.
I pulled it, Yeah.
Okay.
Over at Stronghurst, Illinois or somewhere.
So you had to stop, though, because you went too far.
Well, I didn't.
And then what happened? It ripped the cable come out and the box went flying back.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh, that's funny. That is funny. I knew they had some of those, but I'd never heard of what they did with them. Or
that was way back there. But there was some ordeals.
Where do you see the sport going?
Oh, I think the class you're in is the one that's going to be predominant because it's a little more affordable.
Right.
These others are just like going to the drag strip, you know.
They are. That's why I chose the class.
Yeah.
It's just, and we can still get some of our own ingenuity in there and make a difference on certain things. And it's different than what it was with you guys, because when it comes to the rear ends, I mean, clearly we all have to pretty much have billet rear ends for the most part. And there's still a couple out there. There's a 1206 I run with that's got the old 407 in it.
Is that right?
Yeah, and they're working it as hard as they can, you know, and they've probably got some, they're as near to ag yet as what they can be, but a lot of them, you know, you're running Atlas and Profab transmissions and things like that. But I would say, I would echo your sentiment, the most interesting thing is the people you meet.
Yeah.
It's a good group of people.
I think so. I always like to go places, you know. And
what was some technology or innovation? Did you go to community college anywhere for diesel or everything?
I went to the School of Hard Knocks.
So all this stuff you learned on your own?
I learned it on my own.
So when you're tearing fuel pumps down, you just tore
take
them down?
Apart. Hope you can remember how you got it apart. I've had a few failures too. So don't get me wrong.
Well, that's part of trial and error and learning. Well, I appreciate you taking the time to sit down. I had to work you over pretty hard to get you to do this, and I know I sent a few others after you to work you over too, so I appreciate it, Craig. I know that if you guys don't tell the stories, nobody else remembers it. Lost my dad many years ago, and I just realized my kids don't even know their grandpa that well, and I think it's important, you know, to share this, because if we lose sight of what happened and what people went through to get the sport to where it's at today, we kind of lose the value of what it's doing.
I always said, you know, 94 was a bad year. I lost two good friends, John Klug and Ernie Ropp, and my dad, all in the same year.
Really?
Yeah, 94.
I did not realize that John and Ernie
same year. John died in March,
I
think, and I think Ernie in July, maybe.
Right.
My dad was in October of that year.
Wow. 21 years ago?
Yeah.
That's something. Yeah, that kind of leaves a hole in our life, and it changes the way we look at things when we lose those people. Ernie Ropp, we haven't talked about them a lot here. Did you ever do anything for the Ropp family?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you did? Okay.
I helped him with that D21 a lot.
Okay.
Messing with them Rusa master pumps then, you know. See, they were using the head out of an International bulldozer in them. And
I just heard that recently.
And I could get those heads when I worked at Wade. Okay.
I heard that because the Alice motor, what was the reason that it would almost bolt right on? Is that right?
No, the injection pump head.
Oh, the injection pump head.
Yeah.
That's what they were talking about. Okay.
Yeah.
That's what was similar. So you were working that over.
Ernie and I went down to somewhere in Illinois, Indy, Harrison, I believe, and they were building a 4-roller pump for those. And it worked real good, too.
Okay.
He got one of them later.
Interesting story on that D21. I'll share this with you real quick. So that thing went to Brabex.
Yeah.
And this Leonard Beasley I spoke about in Tennessee, when I interviewed him, Cody Agent has bought a lot of old pulling tractors and has a warehouse full of them.
Really?
And he jockeys machinery, and he bought an old Alice dealership. We were talking after we were done with Leonard's podcast, and he goes, hey, I got a tractor you might know something about. He said, I got Brabex Imposter.
Huh.
Which is the one that Rops had, then they changed the sheet metal on, and so it's down in Tennessee.
I'll be darned.
Yeah, Eagleville, Tennessee. So we didn't have time. I'd love to go through his building sometime because he's got a pile of those Alice Chalmers, and they were quite a runner back in the day,
they
too.
were good runners.
They were good, but Ernie ended up going down the John Deere route.
Well, he almost had to.
Yeah, he didn't have much choice at that point. That was what became dominant. So
He had it running pretty good.
he did. He had it running real good. And I think Warren just said it just was different when Ernie wasn't around.
Oh, I'm sure.
It was left quite a hole. He went back to, oh gosh, what poll were they at when they lost Ernie?
Toma, wasn't it?
Toma, yeah. And Warren said he went back once and that was enough.
Yeah, I can understand that.
So, well, Craig, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
This has been a goal or a dream of mine for a long time. So.
Oh.
You
sure it isn't a nightmare?
No, you're a legend in the mechanical world in many forms other than tractor pulling. The things that you've built, welded, manufactured for people is your legacy is going to live for many years with the things you've done. There's no doubt about that. So.
I don't know. It's been trying at times.
Oh, that's what it is when you're an innovator like that.
Yeah.
But want to thank you for joining us on another episode of Breaking Barriers Podcast. If you would please support us by just hitting the like and subscribe button, following us out on our channels, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, and then you can also see us now out on Spotify and iTunes.
Breaking Barriers.